After nearly 8 years of drug addiction, Michael DeLeon spent 12 years in prison and halfway houses for a gang-related homicide. Since his time in prison, he's dedicated his life to making the world a better place. He is the founder of Steered Straight, which guides young people away from the dangers of drugs and criminal activity. As a motivational speaker, he has spent thousands of hours talking to millions of young adults, and he has worked tirelessly to help people suffering find the road to recovery.
Addiction is the epidemic of our generation. Every 4 minutes, people are overdosing in the U.S. Drugs and alcohol are tearing our families apart. The only way to combat addiction is through proper treatment and customized care. As people are slipping into the grips of addiction, nationwide Banyan Treatment Center facilities stand as the leader in providing growth through recovery. Addiction does not discriminate. Do not let yourself or someone you know become another devastating statistic. Call now, 855-6-BANYAN.
Join us on March 23, 2017 for the 34th Annual Atlantic Cape Community College Restaurant Gala at Harrah's Waterfront Conference Center. Have the time of your life at the region's premier food and beverage event. Taste mouth-watering hors d'oeuvres prepared by students of the Academy of Culinary Arts at Atlantic Cape. Dance the night away to live entertainment and enjoy a dessert extravaganza like no other. Don't miss this year's Atlantic Cape Community College Restaurant Gala on March 23rd. Visit atlantic.edu/gala today.
You own a small to mid-sized business and want to market your company. But how do you break out of the shadow of the big box stores? That's where ClearBridge Media Consulting comes in. ClearBridge provides the necessary tools and resources to interact and engage your customers and specializes in finding the perfect formula for you to succeed. ClearBridge bridges the gap between your business goals and the resources required to succeed in today's digital world. Call or visit ClearBridge Media Consulting online today for your free brand audit.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Welcome to the Road to Recovery. I'm Michael DeLeon, your host, and today I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Gary Meyer. Gary, thanks so much for joining us. You know, most times when we talk about the road to recovery and people's recovery, so many times because of the public social health crisis that we're in the midst of, we're talking about addiction to drugs or alcohol. But process addictions and other addictions, people are in recovery from that as well. And so you're in recovery from a gambling addiction.
That's correct, Michael. Thank you very much for having me. And before I even proceed, I really want to congratulate you on your fine work in heroin and opiate reforms and bringing awareness to the problem. As you well know, I have a gambling problem, and I've been clean and sober since 1994. And unfortunately, gambling is really not looked at as an addiction in much of the world. And in particular in New Jersey, I hear a lot of things about opiate reform, alcoholism, drug addiction, but we don't really hear about gambling addiction.
No, exactly. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show. That's why I wanted to talk about this. Because there's a lot of things about this that are affecting you that we're going to get into. The expungement laws, the problem with having your past affect your future. And so I wanted to talk about that. Tell us a little bit about, gambling and the problem.
Well, gambling is really a phenomenon that is really taken over a lot of areas for tax revenue, essentially. So for a lot of folks, it's no problem. Just like maybe having a beer is no problem for some people. But when we encourage gambling to the extent that we do for tax revenue, it becomes socially acceptable for a lot of folks. And it drew me in at a very young age, and I got in trouble quickly. And I got in trouble quickly not because I'm a sore loser, it's just I couldn't stop. And I lost control of my life eventually at a young age, in my early 20s. And sadly, I turned to doing some bad things when I ran out of money and I ran out of credit. I started doing some bad things specifically, and sadly, embarrassingly, I turned to dealing cocaine at the age of 22 years of age. And it would be a lot a lot easier for me to say if I did it because I was doing drugs, but I sold drugs to support my gambling habit. And eventually I got caught in 1992 when I was 24 years of age. After coming out of a active duty military tour with an honorable discharge, I essentially decimated my life at a very early age.
Right. So at the age of 24, you're now charged and convicted for dealing drugs. And the drug dealing was to support your gambling addiction. Yeah, I don't know that dealing drugs to support a drug addiction or dealing drugs to support a gambling addiction, I don't know that there's really any difference in that. I think, not to justify either one, but you were dealing drugs to support a gambling addiction. I don't think that's any worse than dealing drugs to support a drug addiction.
Well, I'll tell you, whether it's worse or not, I have a lot of remorse for what I did. It's a long time ago. I immediately went to a well-known 12-step gambling program, and it began to change my life while I was on bail, and then I went to prison for a year. And went to New Jersey State Prison for a year, did all the right things when I was there in prison, and got out and went right back into that well-known 12-step gambling group, and still go today. It really has changed my life. I got very active in the program, and there was a fellow by the name of Dick L. who went to the program, and he said the room is stronger than the bet. And I just kept going to the rooms and got involved, and on my own volition, I sought therapy, and she said, my therapist said, I want you to apply to the Wharton School, University of Pennsylvania. And I said, nobody gets in that school. And at that time we had a 6% acceptance rate, and I got accepted at Wharton, and only to find out that I was precluded from all loans and grants. I wasn't able to pay my way through Wharton the traditional way, and my family didn't have that kind of money. Right. It's about $350,000 now in today's dollars. And I paid my way through Wharton, starting a business. And I graduated in the top 5% of my class, only to find out that I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get a job because I have a record that I can't get rid of in this state. So despite doing all the right things and really trying to pull myself up by my bootstraps, as people said, and encourage me to do well, I found out that ultimately I couldn't effectively assimilate into society, solely attributed to my criminal record from 1992. And here it is 2016, and I'm still not able to assimilate into society because I'm statutorily precluded by expunging that record.
Wow. And so we expect people to rehabilitate, we expect people to recover, stay on that road to recovery, but then hinder them in many ways. And we'll talk more with Gary Meyer about that right after this.
It's time to get help. At Recovery Unplugged, you can get the tools you need for a fulfilling, sober life free from drug and alcohol addiction. Our luxury resort-style facility has the accommodations to make change comfortable. Recovery Unplugged's nationally accredited program combines the most successful addiction therapy with a cutting-edge approach, using music as a catalyst for change. At Recovery Unplugged, music makes the difference.
Weather can change within an instant. For the most accurate forecast, trust Nor'easter Nick.
It's weather time.
As a South Jersey native, he understands South Jersey weather and works non-stop to deliver the most detailed forecast possible.
With us this afternoon and then into the evening as well.
Whether heavy rain, snow, or sunshine, Nick's got you covered. Stay ahead of the storm and connected to all things South Jersey weather with Nor'easter Nick on SNJ Today News, weeknights at 7 and 11. We are South Jersey.
Seabrook House has been helping families find the courage to recover from alcoholism, drug addiction, and other compulsive mental disorders for over 42 years. Our programs include the Family Matrix program that allows families to heal and begin to strengthen the family bonds strained by addiction, inpatient rehabilitation, extended care, and outpatient treatments. If you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, please call or visit us online today. Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery, I'm Michael DeLeon with Gary Meyer today, talking about, recovery from addiction, but, more so really the long-term, lifelong consequences of criminal involvement because of addiction. I mean, your charges of dealing drugs stem from your gambling addiction. And over 26 years now, you're in recovery from your gambling addiction, yet those charges really affect your life today.
Absolutely. I've been offered some jobs that I haven't even sought. I own a technology company, and I've owned that for 20 years. I'm a linguist by nature. My second language is German. Spanish, I'm formally schooled 5 years in Thai, currently learning Mandarin and Isan concurrently. I've been offered a job at a hedge fund. I'm a Seeking Alpha contributor. I've been offered a job as CEO of a law firm without applying. And this 26-person law firm. And my record precluded me from accepting either one of those positions. And not on my volition, because it actually came up. Right. And it's relative because I can't even travel freely. My wife happens to be a legal foreign national with a green card, and I can't even return to her country for more than 30 days. I can't travel freely, and I'm precluded from every type of Security and Exchange Commission license, Series 6, a Series 7, a Series 60, 63.
Graduating the top of your class.
Top of my class. And ironically, the more successful you are, the more hindrance your record becomes. Right. So it doesn't really make sense for folks to say, well, listen, I want you to clean your act up and go further, when in fact you're being held back.
Right.
And
it can't get expunged in the state of New Jersey because it's a second degree.
A second degree. If you have more than this little bit, if you took off my wedding ring and filled it with cocaine, that is a second degree felony in the state.
And 26 years ago.
Yeah, right? That's what it was.
And you haven't had any problems in 26 years?
Nothing, not even a misdemeanor, a drunk driving, anything like that.
And we can't expunge a charge from 26 years ago because it's a second degree drug charge. And every aspect of your life is hindered by that noose around your neck that you accepted responsibility for. Not only did you go to prison for a year and serve your time, but you went to the Wharton School of Business and graduated in the top 5% of your class. Do charitable work, has been running a business in Millville, New Jersey for a long, long time.
That's correct. I'm the animal coordinator for the city of Millville, which is a volunteer position managing cat colonies. I've been featured in the paper a couple times just in the past year doing animal rescue work. I became a Kentucky Colonel, a Freemason, a member of my church, Urban Promise volunteers, speak every year at Cherry Hill East High School to the graduating seniors about the gambling addiction. I've mentored hundreds of people coming out of prison. So much so that the NAACP formally endorsed me, and obviously I'm a white guy, and it's a rare thing, but they came out because they know that most of the people that come out of prison are of color, and it just so happens that my work correlates with that demographic.
Right, you employ ex-offenders as well.
That is correct. So I also have two New Jersey prosecutors who have formally endorsed me, one of which is a member in the New Jersey Parole Board. And I have a lot of law enforcement people that are up behind me, because if I can't be pardoned, and I've had a pardon on Chris Christie's just for 2 years, if I can't be pardoned, what message are we sending to people that are coming out? Here's a guy that's done everything right, and from 1992 and we can't find it in our way to say, hey, this person's been more than a model citizen.
Right.
Let's lift these chains of bondage.
Right.
But we can't seem to do that in this state. So the message we're sending is, don't try. I've heard it from people in the highest positions in the state of New Jersey that the pardon system is not merit-based. It's all whom one knows.
Right.
And I've seen it myself.
We don't know anybody.
We don't know anybody.
That's a shame. The road to recovery is a difficult road for some, especially for people who are being hindered by the mistakes of their past. Something needs to change, and we'll talk more about that with Gary Meyer after this commercial break.
Addiction is the epidemic of our generation. Every 4 minutes, people are overdosing in the U.S. Drugs and alcohol are tearing our families apart. The only way to combat addiction is through proper treatment and customized care. As people are slipping into the grips of addiction, nationwide Banyan Treatment Center facilities stand as the leader in providing growth through recovery. Addiction does not discriminate. Do not let yourself or someone you know become another devastating statistic. Call now, 855-6-BANYAN.
Welcome to the beautiful Levoy Theater. Please join us in 2017 for a fantastic series of performances featuring many of your Broadway favorites. The Levoy in Millville is an affordable and convenient way to be a part of something great. Subscriptions are available now, and if you call or go online, these wonderful shows will be yours throughout 2017. The Levoy, it's where you belong.
Join us on March 23rd, 2017 for the 34th Annual Atlantic Cape Community College Restaurant Gala at Harrah's Waterfront Conference Center. Have the time of your life at the region's premier food and beverage event. Taste mouth-watering hors d'oeuvres prepared by students of the Academy of Culinary Arts at Atlantic Cape. Dance the night away to live entertainment and enjoy a dessert extravaganza like no other. Don't miss this year's Atlantic Cape Community College Restaurant Gala on March 23rd. Visit atlantic.edu/gala today.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery, I'm Michael DeLeon here with Gary Meyer, a good friend, somebody who, I respect quite a bit. I wanted to talk about the addiction of gambling, which we touched on. I don't think it's talked about enough, as you said earlier, but certainly the long-term civil and social and employment career consequences by a criminal conviction over 26 years earlier, and because it was classified as a second-degree drug offense. You're hindered in every aspect of your life.
It's sad. I feel it every day. My mother and father are certainly older. My mom has repeatedly called Christie's office, and she's now scheduled for surgery, and it's her dying wish. She doesn't think she's going to survive this operation, and it's her dying wish at this time to have my record expunged. I'm almost 50 years old. And the 8th Amendment of the Constitution precludes cruel and unusual punishment. Where does the punishment actually stop?
Right.
I mean, this shouldn't be in perpetuity.
Right.
Forget me. Let's talk about the taxpayer. The average cost to incarcerate an individual in New Jersey in 2010 is over $54,000. We have over 37,000 people currently incarcerated in New Jersey alone. So when you add up the people that are on parole and probation, that number becomes exponential, 6 digits. So then we have the failure to assimilate by not allowing expungements, except on very, very minor offenses in New Jersey. And ultimately, these people are forced to reoffend because they have to support themselves.
Right, exactly.
So again, forget me. I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. People might say, really? You're not a bleeding heart liberal? I'm not a liberal. I'm a conservative. I'm a fiscal conservative. And in fact, ultimately, the New Jersey taxpayer is paying dearly because of the failure to expunge.
Absolutely. Our criminal justice system in New Jersey, our Department of Corrections is a higher budget. We have less inmates than we've had in 7 years, and our criminal justice budget, our DOC budget in New Jersey is higher than it's ever been. It's not being smart on crime. It's being stupid on crime. I mean, who have you gone before? Who have you talked to?
Well, that's interesting. Most people, are led to believe that their legislators have a fiduciary duty to represent their constituents, and they're actually going to take a vested interest in listening to the constituent, in hearing ways that would be advantageous for New Jersey and New Jersey taxpayers. To that end, I first met with Senator James Beach, who was in my local state senator, and I met with him in person, and he said he would help, and nothing was forthcoming. Contacted Bonnie Watson Coleman's office. However, one of her members of her staff was instrumental in at least communicating with me on a personal basis to really try and facilitate things. And that was Dorcas and Kunkel. If I'm not saying that right, she was very nice, and I appreciate that. Even if I don't get direct help, the fact that somebody would actually take the time to respond,
sure,
it means a lot to me. I've went to Senator Stacks, Brian Stacks, who at least talked to me a few times. I met him at prison reform group up in Jersey City with James McGreevy and New Jersey Prison Reentry Program. I've attended all the different events. Brian Stacks has at least heard me out, and he knows that there's issues in there. Senator Turner, Senator Cunningham won't call me back. I was told to talk to Assemblyman Wimbley, no call back. So then I'm at another New Jersey prison reform meeting in Cumberland County that Prosecutor Jennifer Webb McCrae hosted. Incidentally, a person that's real and sincere, and I truly believe that, and I appreciate her holding these events, and I've talked to her personally. So I then hear Senator Sweeney say that his dad was in prison from a gambling addiction. Was in Trenton State. I couldn't believe it. I said, wow. So I approached Senator Sweeney, introduced myself, and said I was the chairperson of a 12-step gambling program previously and on the board of trustees for this. And I told him my story, and he said, I'm going to help you. I received a call about a month later from a girl from his office named Ashley. She had no idea why she was calling me, which I thought was a little surprising. I told her my story. Told her I've talked to all these different politicians, and I've talked to the Unitarian Church and all these other folks at Drug Policy Alliance and all these different folks that, that I was told to talk to, because basically the politician tells you to go to this group tells you to go to that group, this group, and nobody does anything. So this is my experience. So when Senator Sweeney said he'd help me, I couldn't believe it. Senate Majority Leader. And I said to Ashley, Ashley, I was already in your Senate Majority offices in Trenton, and I met with Muzan Fruquan and Alan Feinberg, the Chief of Staff, and I showed quantifiably that the New Jersey taxpayer would save on average over $800,000 for a person that changed their life around and changed expungement laws. Right. Not so much by additional taxation, but the fact that New Jersey taxpayers wouldn't have an expenditure for additional investigation, incarceration, subsequent parole, associated social services for their spouse and or significant other. So when I explained all this to Ashley, she said, I can't believe nobody's helped you yet. We're going to help you. That's the last I've heard of him.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, I don't even know. 6-7 months ago, over and over. I could tell you so many stories. If you think these legislators are here to represent their constituents and they care about taxpayer money, please walk a day in my shoes.
Right. Well, listen, this needs to change. We'll talk more about how you can get involved right after this.
Seabrook House has been helping families find the courage to recover from alcoholism, drug addiction, and other compulsive mental disorders for over 42 years. Our programs include the Family Matrix program that allows families to heal and begin to strengthen the family bonds strained by addiction, inpatient rehabilitation, extended care, and outpatient treatments. If you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, please call or visit us online today. Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
It's time to get help. At Recovery Unplugged, you can get the tools you need for a fulfilling, sober life free from drug and alcohol addiction. Our luxury resort-style facility has the accommodations to make change comfortable. Recovery Unplugged's nationally accredited program combines the most successful addiction therapy with a cutting-edge approach, using music as a catalyst for change. At Recovery Unplugged, music makes the difference.
Compared to traditional channels like print or advertising, social media marketing is affordable for any business. Remember that the channel itself is free. Managing social media, taking care of all the content, tweets, or feedback can get pretty time-consuming, and you need to focus primarily on your business. That's why you need ClearBridge Media Consulting, South Jersey's award-winning digital marketing company. We have plenty of experience to take complete responsibility of your digital presence. Get in touch with ClearBridge Media Consulting. We're ready to start today.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery with Gary Meyer, and the problem with gambling addiction is very severe in America, and it's socially accepted. But when those addictions, those process addictions, intertwine with drugs, and then we have a drug charge, as Gary did over 26 years ago, your life has changed and hindered forever. We need to change expungement laws. We need to add second-degree drug offenses. Or Gary needs a pardon from Governor Christie. There's a petition on Governor Christie's desk. I totally support the pardon. And so people could call Governor Christie's office and say, hey, Gary Meyer petition for pardon should pass. You could go to a Facebook group, right?
Yes, I started a New Jersey Prison Reform Group on Facebook.
So New Jersey Prisoner Reform Group.
Prison Reform Group.
New Jersey Prison Reform Group on Facebook. Look at that, join that group, and support Gary. And I'd say call your legislator and demand that expungement laws get looked at and changed for second-degree drug offenses in this state. I mean, how else can people help you?
Well, at this point,
and it's not about you.
Yeah, it's even if I got a pardon, this is about standing up for those that don't have a voice. And some folks maybe listening might say, well, look, there's a bunch of knuckleheads coming out of prison and they're going to go and still be knuckleheads.
Okay,
I concur, that's possible.
You've gone 26 years.
But what about the folks that want to change?
Sure.
We force them back into crime through the legislative inaction of this state. And I really want to see action from legislators, but seemingly they're absent other than to get their photo taken at these New Jersey prison reform meetings. So calling your legislator and saying, I support expungement reform. And I'm not saying go clear everybody's record, let everybody out of prison at all. I'm saying give somebody a path to get back into society so they become taxpayers instead of tax takers.
Absolutely, and contribute to society. So helping people on that path, that's the road to recovery. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Gary, for joining us
Thank
today.
you, Michael, for your great work.
We'll see you on the next episode of The Road to Recovery.
SNJ Today News is South Jersey's source for great community stories.
Your neighborhood is our neighborhood.
Your stories are our stories.
Because your South Jersey is our South Jersey.
SNJ Today's local news team focuses on bringing you positive community stories that reflect the people, places, and things that make South Jersey great. Weeknights at 7 and 11 p.m. on Channel 4 or anytime at snjtoday.com.
SNJ Today News, we are for South Jersey.
You own a small to mid-sized business and want to market your company. But how do you break out of the shadow of the big box stores? That's where ClearBridge Media Consulting comes in. ClearBridge provides the necessary tools and resources to interact and engage your customers and specializes in finding the perfect formula for you to succeed. ClearBridge bridges the gap between your business goals and the resources required to succeed in today's digital world. Call or visit ClearBridge Media Consulting online today for your free brand audit.
Weather can change within an instant. For the most accurate forecast, trust Nor'easter Nick.
It's weather time.
As a South Jersey native, he understands South Jersey weather and works non-stop to deliver the most detailed forecast possible.
With us this afternoon and then into the evening as well.
Whether heavy rain, snow, or sunshine, Nick's got you covered. Stay ahead of the storm and connected to all things South Jersey weather with Nor'easter Nick on SNJ Today News. Weeknights at 7 and 11. We are South Jersey.